think one of the most confusing things to me when I first got involved in catching coyotes is bait and what to buy. You know, you go on any trap supply store and there is 100 different baits. Some are the same, some are different, some are good, some are bad, and you really don't know. And that was one of the things that, you know, really got me whenever I first got involved in this is, why am I buying something at $15 or $20 a pint that stinks, and why are we using that specific ingredients or whatever is in that? Why are we using that? Why can't I just take a chunk of rotten deer meat, throw it down a dirt hole and catch some coyotes? And you can do that, but I think when you really start to think about how a coyote smells, how they act, how they go about their daily life, that's whenever you start to realize that maybe there's something better than just a rotten piece of deer meat down a dirt hole.
We're using bobcat meat that Casey collected. It's already been ground once. We put it in 5-gallon buckets, filled the buckets 2/3 full, and at room temperature kept it in the bucket until the meat built enough bacteria to where the meat was basically filled the bucket as it started to taint, to spoil. You don't want to spoil it clear down. As you can see, looking here, it'll turn brown on top, but it stays pink underneath. And this, we cooled it and it shrank back down, but when the bacteria was working, this meat actually filled the bucket. We want this meat to have enough of an odor to where the odor carries during cold weather. So we taint it, then we put enough preservative in it to shut it down, to preserve it to where it'll not spoil any further. We just want it to have that good odor. All of your studies done by USDA, Wildlife Services, Pocatello, University of Colorado, all of those studies always come up with one primary smell that coyotes responded to the most. And they label it as FAS, fatty acid scent. All of your good baits use some type of a fatty acid or a grease added to the meat that the coyote will smell, that smells like McDonald's to them, smells like a good T-bone, whatever. French fries, it's that grease smell. Generally we use skunk fat, we use natural fish oil or something of that nature that for our fatty acid smell to generate, make him start drooling and licking his chops and wanting to eat it. The most important thing about this bait is that when it's done, that it's actually something that the coyote wants to eat and consume, not something that stinks and is just rotten and nasty that he wants to stick his shoulder on and shove his shoulder through and roll in. This is something we want him to actually want to eat, make him want to fight to get to it.
The best way that I have had it explained to me and how a canine smells or reacts to something that's in front of them is they smell in layers. Say you go to a restaurant, you order a cheeseburger, they bring it out, you smell a cheeseburger. You set that same cheeseburger in front of a canine, they're gonna smell it in layers. They're gonna smell bread, they're gonna smell tomato, pickle, ketchup, mustard, beef. All the things that go into making that cheeseburger, they're gonna smell it and really process it out and sit there and think about it. Now, if you think about that in terms of you've got a dirt hole set in the ground, you've got your bait and everything in the hole, he comes by, he smells it, you want him to stand there as long as possible or approach it and really sit there and process what's down in that dirt hole. The whole time he's doing that, what's he doing? His feet. He's moving his feet, he's shuffling them, and it gives you lots more opportunity to catch that coyote.
Your better baits will all use all natural ingredients. Basically, we're talking about real beaver castor, real skunk essence, real skunk fat, real fish oil, not the processed synthetic stuff, real muskrat glands, whatever mustelid gland that you want to use, whether it's mink, otter, badger, glands, using the real thing instead of synthetic stuff that doesn't have a shelf life and doesn't last. And the coyote can smell right through that artificial stuff real quick, and it's just not the same as using real ingredients. Real ingredients are expensive. I mean, muskrat glands will cost you $100 a quart. Otter glands are just as expensive. Skunk fat starts at $3 and $4 a pound. Beaver castor right now for the good stuff is $60 a pound. Stuff costs money, but if you want a quality product, you use the real stuff.
Plus, you're giving him more options. You know, he may not want a rotten chunk of deer meat. Maybe, you know, that rat gland or that otter gland or a little bit of that skunk that's in it, or the skunk fat, or the, you know, everything that you put into that bait, it really meshes together nicely. And then throw in the fact that you're maybe using a gland lure and some urine on the back of the hole. Maybe he doesn't have to be hungry. Maybe he just wants to steal it from his buddy that buried it in that dirt hole that you're trying to mimic. There's so many things that you need to think about, but it's also extremely simple.